Today's video is going to depart from my plan of doing one on style because I keep thinking of these things that need a little bit of like setup, right? We can't just go straight into um, ideas and thoughts about things without some foundational work. So let's do a little more foundational work before we get into the style. Today I want to share about small steps and not despising the days of small beginnings. Um, Again, I've caught a lot of flack for this over the years, but I really believe the way that you create big change is through little tiny actions. Fly Lady calls that baby stepping your way to success. Um, and I know people out there, and especially in the hustle culture world, would argue with that. And I've seen a lot of people do a crash and burn, and that's what generally happens when we try to change too much too fast. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I am saying that it all depends on where you are, what your journey has looked like up to now, and where you stand and sit right now. So let's just talk about it for a second. Maybe if you've been living in chaos for a very long time and you've felt completely out of control, and maybe every day feels like you're riding the struggle bus, this video is for you. Stop buying into the idea that you're not okay. You are okay exactly where you are, and you're meant to be and pick up lessons exactly where you are right now. And you will, and all of them will count, all of them will help, all of them are going to benefit you and the people in your life. And don't let anybody tell you any different. It's time to listen to you. This is why I'm a big proponent of journaling. That is a time for you to spend with you. If you are a believer in God, time to spend with the Spirit, with God, the universe, who, whatever resonates with you at the moment. Just something bigger than you, that intuitive part of you that is whispering to you, but you're busying yourself and you're being so distracted by the world and everything in it and all the different voices that you never take the time to listen to yourself. And so you go around looking outside everywhere for things to make you feel better, when really a lot of this resides on the inside of you, but you just have not taken the time to listen. And so in that process, you start to reject yourself and you start to not trust yourself. And so it kind of is this perpetual monster that you're feeding, where you're continuing to look outside. You can't trust yourself to get dressed. You're in your head about what workout to do. You're in your head about how to make your house look a certain way, when really the most soulful, beautiful thing that you can do is learn to trust yourself. And that takes a little time if you've been living a different way for your whole life. And in the case of me, it took me until I was in my late 40s to really stop doing that. And part of that is because when we're young, we're listening to our parents, we're listening to our teachers, we're listening to coaches, and then we're listening to bosses, and then we're listening to everybody else but ourselves. And so everything that we're doing in this series is about and starting from a place of genuinely to really come to a place of listening and being led by and guided by your soul, because that's going to be different than someone else's. And trying to copy people all the time, it's different having a muse, having an inspiration, getting a feeling for something, and copying. Everybody can smell that, and it stinks. So, and this is part of why it's taken me such a long time to even do my YouTube stuff and to write authentically, because I wanted it to come from a place that really resonated with me. I didn't want to be copying off of somebody else and doing things the way everybody else does them. Not because I don't like what they do, but because I wanted it to be something that was truthful and authentic and like coming from a place that I could really speak to. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a professional organizer. I'm a woman who's lived decades of life and who's wiggled her way through a lot of really difficult circumstances in parenting, in marriage, in finance, in business, in life. I mean, and I don't want to get into all of that right now because I want to be of service to you, but like, I can sympathize with the fight to figure it out and to try to make people take you seriously and try to have confidence when you don't have confidence, and go to all the people to try to figure this out, when all the while, it was just taking the time to trust myself and learning that process. So everything that we're doing is really coming from the stuff you already have, and building on that, and trusting yourself to find a way forward that feels good to you, that is in keeping with what your life is now, not what it was a long time ago or what you think it will be in the future, but what it is now. And trusting that the future's taken care of. It's taken care of you this far. I always tell my kids, because we all come into these scary parts of life and unknowns and transitional times and changes, and it feels terrifying. But here's the thing, you've done things you've been terrified to do before. Even if you have to think back to like trying out for a sport for the first time, going to get your first apartment, your first job, going to college for the first day, things that have felt really scary, going on your first date, things that have felt super scary, and somehow you've made it through. Now, if you're in your 50s or later, maybe even 40s, for everybody, this is different. Again, this is like your makeup and your life. No one has experienced the same way. You are a unique masterpiece. And this is why I wanted to bring this, because the style video is going to go right along with this, and it's going to feel so amazing. Hopefully it feels like one of the best style videos you've ever watched. But I had to lay this foundation first. You are this unique masterpiece. No one on this planet has lived with the same parents, with the same genes, with the same experiences and skills, and in the same environment. All of those puzzle pieces that make up your life, your puzzle, the picture on the front of the box, is going to look different than anyone else's, because the pieces are all different that make up the gorgeous picture that is your life. And it's there for you to enjoy, for others to benefit from and enjoy, and I want you to make it the best it can be, and one that feels really good to your soul. So as we lay down these, just remember that part. Remember that part. You're okay where you are, on the way to where you're going. You are going to be just fine. And if it's in a wobbly season, use these practices to build a little space to help you smooth out the wobble. If you're in a season where things are going pretty good, use this as a time to refine it and make it even better. Use it as a time to set yourself up to make that epic next move. But I just wanted to say that this has to be coming from your heart. This has to be authentically you. This has to be things that resonate with you and feel good to you. So we're taking the time to tune in to our inner voice, our inner guidance. Whatever you're saying the source of that is up to you, because it's your life and what you're doing. But I really needed to share that before we move into the style video, because that's going to be something where you're expressing on the outside, and all of these things are. It's you're creating on the outside what is happening on the inside. And that's already true. You're already doing that. And when people are seeing you and reacting to you and being a certain way, it's because of what you're showing them. So keep that in mind as you go on and do the exercises in each video. So this is a little foundational piece. We're matching up our insides and our outsides. And I hope you will join me for the rest of the game, and I hope you enjoy playing along. Please comment down below for what parts of this are resonating with you most so that I can bring you more information or help or guidance or tips on those subjects. I would love to hear from you.